Welcome to the WJBM Outdoor Show, brought to you by Midwest Tractor Sales in Jerseyville. We're coming to you from the WJBM studios in Jerseyville, the voice of the Tri-Counties. I'm Aaron Quillen. I operate Monarch Rivers, where the mission is simple: kill big deer. Joining us today, we have an adjuster from Rain and Hail, a farmer, a hunter, a deer guru, a father, Mr. Aaron Albrecht. Hey, thanks for being here, man.
Hey, no problem.
I was just thinking this earlier as we were coming in. I know a lot of different roles in your life, and we've sat in a pit next to each other. We've hung out a bunch, but there's so many things that I'm excited to learn more about. Let's just get a brief, intro. You're from Carrollton. Tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I grew up in Carrollton, was born just northeast of Carrollton. Lived there pretty much my whole life till I got married. And have 7 brothers and sisters, so full house.
Big
as you
family.
can imagine. Oh, yeah. And just grew up outdoors. We didn't have a TV or anything growing up. I guess we did a couple times. Brother Adam, he'd go buy a TV from a farm sale or something like that, or there used to be a sale barn there in Carrollton, and he'd go by and he'd buy one, be a black and white TV, like a 13-inch thing, and we'd sit around and watch whatever we could get on that. So spent a lot of time outdoors, and went to St. John's starting out, and then switched to Greenfield. We was in the Greenfield school district,
Okay.
even though we're technically closer to Carrollton. So
Okay.
that's kind of how that transpired there, because everybody's like, well, you're always in Carrollton all the time, so how do you know so many people from everywhere? Well, when you grow up half your life in Carrollton, the other half in Greenfield, you pretty much get the county covered there.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's kind of the background on me. Married to Megan Randolph, and then we got 3 kids, Logan, Ellie, and Levi, and they like to hunt. Well, Ellie doesn't. She thinks she does sometimes, but the boys, they like to go. So
Yeah.
it's actually Logan's birthday today, so we got to go eat Mexican tonight for that.
Awesome. Happy birthday, Logan. Cool. Now, something that is super important to me is, as Brody's, 2, I think a lot about getting him into, the outdoors. He loves the outdoors as it is, but trying to find ways to keep it fun. What are some of the things that you've done, with your kids to kind of ease them into the hunting and fishing and stuff like that?
Just having a good group of people around to make it a good atmosphere for the kids, I feel like is probably the number one thing. Having deer camps, something they're looking forward to.
Mm-hmm.
And deer blinds obviously help for taking kids hunting. They can be quiet or be loud in there, and don't have to be super quiet. And kind of like, well, you had Brody down to Goose Pit this year. That's a good atmosphere for kids. They can get up, move around, and they get to see things. They don't have to just sit there and be quiet like we did growing up hunting.
Mm-hmm.
Where you got your butt chewed if you blinked your eyes too fast or something.
Yeah.
You didn't know. That's how I started my brothers, and just freezing to death at the base of the tree,
Mm-hmm.
basically. And they didn't have the good clothing they got now, and good boots. We had them PVC boots.
Mm-hmm.
You'd double up your socks, put hot hands in there, and you still froze.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of a love for it. And I don't know, I'm sure there are certain kids that still have that drive that maybe we had back then, maybe a little more, but I don't know. It's just a different ball game now, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But getting the kids in there, like I said, just try to make it fun for them. And, if a kid shoots a 2-year-old buck or something like that, make it a big buck, make it a good experience. So
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty much all I got for getting kids in. I don't know that taking them squirrel hunting is the best idea, because the mosquitoes carry you off.
Ticks. Yeah.
Ticks, mosquitoes, and then fishing. I'm just not a real big fisherman, to be honest with you. I like to go do the bank lines.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. If I'm on a boat, I just want to be cruising on a boat.
Yeah, I hear that.
So, but the bank lines, that's fun. We go out and set them and catch a few fish here and there. But I don't know, like I said, the kids just in general, just having them outdoors is a big thing, getting them off their butts and getting them off the iPads. And I don't care if it's sports, I don't care if it's hunting, whatever it is, just get them out of the house.
Yeah.
So, and your boy, he's going to be good to go.
I think
he
so.
liked that goose pit.
Yeah, he did. He did. That's one thing I noticed when you bring your son is I liked how you kind of monitored the time. There were certain times where, you guys would come down, come hunting, and it seemed like you had a good radar as to, okay, here's where we're at with the attention span.
Mm-hmm.
And, you were, sometimes you'd be like, why is AA leaving so quick? But I kind of felt like it was like monitoring the day-to-day, happy wife, happy life, and also like, all right, here's our attention span. I loved what you did with the BB gun.
Yeah, so he loves that gun. He packs it around everywhere. So, no, I'm a person that's like easily annoyed by other kids being a pain.
Okay.
So I don't want my kid to get to that point.
Okay.
So I'm kind of watching that as a, if it's annoying to me, it's probably annoying to someone else. So I try to head that off at the pass. And you're a parent, so you know when they're starting to get tired and ready for a nap. So yeah, when we was down there and he got through eating his third or fourth donut that morning.
Okay.
Well, I think I sent you a picture. He didn't even make it to the top of the hill. He was passed out in the car seat. So, yeah, that food coma was kicking in on him.
That was
You can only have so much
recognition.
donuts and milk. His mom asked him, kill any geese? Well, I don't know. I don't think we did. No, we didn't. Not that day. Had a good breakfast, though.
Yeah. I think it's just great for the kids to be around, adults, doing good, positive things. And it's just, that was my favorite thing about hunting that blind this year is weekends, it was like family time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you'd have, parents, kids, like the whole deal. It was, that was my absolute favorite part about hunting the blind this year, for sure.
Yeah, it was great. And like I said, our deer camp, it's kind of the same thing as that, but it's not so many weeks in a row. You got your gun seasons. We'll start out with a couple of bow seasons and go hang around the wood stove and tell stories. Somebody always sees a big one, or maybe they're just lying.
Yeah, right.
Most of the time. So we sit around, tell a good story, and might have a little pull of bourbon or something like that.
Yeah,
and cook good food. That's the main thing. The kids, they're always having fun with something like that. Build a little campfire outside, whatever. They tell their stories, and it's something fun for them.
Yeah. Okay. So, what does your deer camp look like? Is it got a shanty place? You got a barn? How does this work? Is it family, neighbors?
Yeah. It's pretty much whoever stops by. It does not have the shanty atmosphere. That's kind of in a league of its own, in my opinion.
If the walls could talk, right?
Ours is it's a good spot. It's my brother's cabin. It's just an old tin shed out in the middle of the farm, basically.
Okay.
And just go there and hang out. It's got a wood stove in it. It's got a loft, bunch of chairs around it, and it's kind of like a boar's nest.
Okay.
Yeah. You come in there during hunting season, there's muddy boots, there's beer cans, whatever else laying around in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the story I like to tell about it, no, there's a couple of them. I've shot 2 pretty decent bucks out of that cabin, and it's always kind of funny because the young boys, they're always fired up to go hunting like I was and you were back in the day. And they're strategizing what they're going to do, and I'm like, well, I might just sit here by the wood stove. It's a lot warmer.
Right.
And I've done it twice now, where I've shot a nice buck, got one with a gun, and then one with the bow out of there this past year while they're out freezing in the freezing rain, sitting at a deer stand, a couple of them in stands, a couple of them in blinds. So that's always a good feeling. They come back waiting to hear a story, and there's a bloody arrow laying on the counter.
So
the look on their face was priceless.
Walk me through that. You shot a deer with a bow out of the cabin.
Yeah. So it was a rainy day, and we were just hanging deer stands around. The rain didn't start till later in the afternoon, and then it started coming down pretty good, and everybody kind of had their idea where they was going to go. And two of the boys were going to go sit in the tree and be miserable, and everyone else went with the blinds. So I just sat there looking out the window, and there was a bunch of deer. Right after everyone left, there was a bunch of deer that started coming out in the field right by the cabin, a bunch of does. And it got a little bit later, and I seen a body go through the timber. It was headed up towards that field, and I grunted. I thought I seen a rack on it. Looked like a good rack. It was real tall, and grunted a couple times. I went at the pace he was going. I thought he was going to go on out to the field, so I went and looked out the front door. He wasn't out there, and went back to the window and looked out. Well, he was coming right back down that path the way he'd came, and he was wrapping around the cabin, and I shot him, I think, like 36 yards. He was slightly quartering to, and shot him through the shoulder, come out the armpit on the other side, and it ran straight to my brother Steve, was sitting in the blind. The deer ran right to him. I don't know if he got caught up in a vine or what, but anyway, the deer flipped up in the air, went to thrash, and he was messing around with his Facebook. He finally gets the window open as it was taking his last couple kicks. He had no idea what had happened. He heard something, he looked out, and this deer is dying in front of him. He thought, well, maybe something got in a fight with it, but no, Broadhead got in a fight with it.
That is hilarious. So is that like the door, the window?
It's right out the window. Both deer I've shot right out of the same window. It's on the north side of it.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And so like the landscape, the kind of the topography right there is advantageous.
Oh, yeah.
Makes like a funnel point.
Yeah, so it's a big draw that kind of cuts out to the east, and I don't know if it'd be, I guess from road to creek, it's probably a mile long, maybe a mile and a quarter. Okay. And there's just two draws that come together right where that cabin sits. It overlooks right where they are, and then there's a spring that sits right next to it. So it's got water year round. You got crops on all sides, and it's and we went in there and did a bunch of hinge cutting. Oh, probably 3 years ago, I guess it was. Just went and knocked down a lot of the box elders and some of the locusts in there. Just made good bedding and just kind of leave those deer, the does, for the most part, just leave them alone. You know, if we're out there shooting trap, they're hearing gunshots or seeing people, and I think, you know, they're used to us. They don't really care about you going in and out. Mm-hmm. So if the does are in there and they're happy, and the buck comes in there to check them out, it works out good. So
that's awesome.
It's kind of a little different scenario than a lot of people that stay completely off of their farms and their sanctuaries. And right now we're putting a sanctuary by the cabin, you know, close. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I guess if we ever kill a 200-inch deer out of there, we'll say it works. Right. Until then, we'll just say it's fun.
I like it. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break, hear a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the WJBM Outdoor Show, brought to you by Midwest Tractor Sales in Jerseyville. We're coming to you from the WJBM studios in Jerseyville, the voice of the Tri-Counties. I'm Aaron Quillen. I operate Monarch Rivers with a mission is simple: kill big deer. For those of you just joining, our guest, AA, Mr. Aaron Albrecht. Now, the AA, is that the first two letters of your first name, or is that the initial first last?
I guess it's however you really want to take it. I got called AA, and my older brother Adam was AA.
Okay.
So then I just kind of fell into that. A couple guys over at Greenfield started it, and it stuck.
Okay.
So, you know, everybody gets their nicknames, I guess, somehow.
Yeah. Do you ever go with the AA Ron?
I do get called that more often than not there with, like, at work meetings. They even made up some name tags for me. That's
beautiful.
They got the joking name and then they got the serious name in there.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of interesting when I go up there and we'll be at school or something and have your name plate or whatever, and the girls up there, they think it's kind of funny because I don't know if it's personality or what. It's always kind of the life of the party, so to speak, up there, and they don't cut loose a whole lot. They're pretty straight and narrow, so they think they're really doing something by putting an AA Ron on there.
Okay, I like it. I do the AA Ron often. I think it's a good habit. Like, I'll call ahead to a restaurant and pick up food to go. It's a big time saver. Mm-hmm. I mean, how many times you go somewhere and then next thing you know, somebody buys you a beer or you get to talking and you're like, man, I should have gotten out of here like an hour ago. So when they ask me my name, I just tell them Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
Because that way, you know, you get the girl spelling, you know, just different stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Try and keep it popping positivity throughout the day.
So you referring to Lone Oak, where you go there for a beer and then you end up staying for all of them?
Lone Oak's tremendous for that. Straight Home's tremendous for that.
Yeah.
I mean, there are certain establishments where
It's just the atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's just the atmosphere.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. A guy I work with, we was talking about it yesterday. You know, when the Casey Hall was up and going, that was just a different atmosphere to go have a beer in there. It was the lighting was different. It's just not the same.
Yeah.
And some bars just hit a little different. And I stopped at the Sportsman's Inn for a burger the other day, and that's a cool bar. I'd never been there before.
Okay.
Good burger. So anybody that's around Chesterfield, that's a good place to stop and get one.
Okay.
Not advertising for them, just it was good.
Yeah. A good burger is a good burger.
Yeah.
Okay. So your family farms.
Yeah, I just help. So I'm not
Okay.
really a farmer. I kind of just run around and help whoever needs it.
I mean, I get that. I grew up on a horse farm, and I kind of just helped.
Yeah.
I mean, I can read a horse pretty good. It was standard bred, like the ones that race at the Greene County Fair, the harness. So, you know, stuff like that's helpful.
Mm-hmm.
We had Brody in a pasture the other day. I'm watching this horse's ears, making sure, you know, trying to judge how much freedom to give Brody and whatnot. And but I will lead a horse. I can feed a horse. I can deliver a horse. I will not ride a horse.
I don't blame you.
I grew up with dirt bikes. They had throttles and brakes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm not a real big horse guy. I did a lot showing cattle over the years. I didn't really show the cattle. Did a little bit of it. I'd rather just do the stall work. I used to like to clip and fit, but I've been kicked enough now. I'm really not that interested in it no more. Right. I'd rather just the only cows I really like whenever they're on a plate or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't mind riding around looking at them out in the pasture, but that's about it. I don't like getting in there, working them, running them through the chutes. It seems like it doesn't matter. You're going to have a crazy one. You can cull out a crazy one every year and have the most docile cattle, and it doesn't really matter. One of them's going to be a fruitcake that day.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah. We're taking guys hunting a lot of times. We got to get through cattle pastures and whatnot.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I'm going to knock on some wood here, but fortunately we've had pretty good luck with the cows, and, you know, we're out there so we can call a neighbor when their cows are loose or anything like that. But,
you know, you said that about reading that horse's body language. That's something else too. I think that translates into hunting as well as just being out there with livestock, both things. You know, when them cows are acting crazy, is it because someone's nervous that's there? You know, and I think they obviously can read it. Dogs, horses, cattle, whatever it is. And then I think that plays into the same thing with deer hunting too. You know, your body language when you're going out there going hunting. You know, you got a person that's walking down the road. Deer don't really pay much attention to a person walking a steady pace down the road. They'll sit there and watch you go by, but you go walking through the timber, what are they doing? Yeah. You can walk right by them. They'll lay there. But if you go sneaking through there, they're jumping up and going. So they're reading your body language no different than you're reading theirs. So
yeah. There's so, I agree so much. I mean, you mentioned with reading even a dog. When people come in and they're, you know, well, you know, I'm not sure how confident I'm going to be with age structure. It's like, all right, first and foremost, it's one of the hardest things to do, period. And even the people that are excellent at it get it wrong all the time.
Oh, yeah.
But think of a dog that you've had through your life and how their body changed with age. I always use that analogy because I think that's the thing that most people are, you know, aware of. Most people have had a dog, you know, that they've watched grow old. And so the abdomen, unless you got one of those breeds, it's always going to be high-waisted. And even then, you kind of see a difference. But think about an old lab. As they get older in the like 8, 9 range, they got a full torso, abdomen. You know, it doesn't really rise up, stays pretty flat. You know, you kind of get a better idea for age
Yeah.
That way.
I'm not good at aging deer.
Really?
No, I don't think I am. They all look the same to me.
Okay.
I mean, there is some that maybe walk a little different. And I don't know. I always had that mindset of, deer are like people. You might have, me and you are completely different. And then you got other heavy set people that are older, and you got that boy in 8th grade that has a full beard and shoulders, this wide.
I remember that with wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'd put the pop on you.
Well, I was young for my grade, and once I got into high school, now I'm going up against somebody with a full beard. Mm-hmm. It's like, dude, I just got pit hair like a year ago.
yeah, exactly.
So when you're growing up, you're helping out on the farm, and it's mostly just agriculture, row crop, and stuff like that. Did you have cattle?
Yeah, so we had a few cows. Dad did, and Grandpa did, and then my grandpa Richard down here in Kane, they had a dairy farm.
Okay. Oh, so you're pretty well versed in the cattle.
Yeah, well, I don't know how you want to use the word verse. Hey, I've been around them all.
Yeah,
I guess you could say that.
Yeah. So your family's also been probably in the hay business too.
Yeah, Dad used to do a lot of custom baling, and we was kind of the pit crew.
Okay.
And we did put up a lot of square bales over the years and work for the neighbors. And we had some neighbors in general, or one group of neighbors. They was awesome. The mom or the grandma, whatever she was. She'd always have a big spread at the end of the day. I mean, it was worth. You didn't even have to get paid. Just having that meal was awesome.
Yeah,
it was like a potluck almost, and she made it all in slushy sweet tea. And gosh, you'd eat so much you'd be sick. It was a good time.
Growing up in my neighborhood, we called it Camp Jeff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, farmer. It's kind of like a block away. A country mile block.
Yep.
And they did most of the haying around, and they had 4 kids. We were all real close. The oldest was in my brother's wedding, but we'd go there in the summertime and we'd buck bales, and we called it Camp Jeff.
Yeah.
It was miserable. You didn't get paid squat, but I was a young man. I got to take off on my 1979 YZ80 and head off to Camp Jeff. It was some freedom in it that I loved too.
You always felt good after putting up a bunch of hay. You slept good that night, and I don't know. It was rough work, but it was actually, at the end of the day, it wasn't as bad as kind of mindset going into it. Mm-hmm. But we did, like I said, did a bunch of it.
Okay. So how did you get involved with rain and hail?
Well, my brothers are in crop insurance, Steve and Adam both.
Okay.
And I always kind of wanted to do what they did.
Yeah.
Seemed to be a pretty good gig. And I got tied in with Adam, and we started out with John Deere, and then they got bought out by Farmers Mutual.
Okay.
And there really wasn't a lot. Crop insurance has really grown in the last couple of years. I shouldn't say last couple. It's probably been 20 years. And because time it gets away from a guy, Mm-hmm. So got in with them. There just wasn't a lot of work to keep him and I both busy. And he had mentioned a marketing rep for rain and hail. So he gave me his number. I called him and kind of started the ball rolling that way. And I don't remember what year that was exactly. That might have been in 14, maybe 15, somewhere in there. And then just kind of got my foot in the door, got back up on training, and just been doing it ever since. Been full-time since 2018, but pretty much full-time probably since 2016. Mm-hmm. I'd say somewhere right in there. But the actual full-time status was in 18.
Okay.
I want to say September of 18, maybe, something like that. And it is a good gig. I like doing it. It's something different every day. Work from home. You get to meet a lot of people and get to see a lot of the country. Like, just for instance, yesterday I started out down by Royal Lakes and ended up north of Barry. So,
okay.
You're covering ground.
Yeah.
And you get to see everything in between. So it's interesting. Meet a lot of nice people.
Yeah.
So get to look at a lot of wildlife too, going up and down the road. You know, whenever it's getting rut time, you're going up and down the road and you're seeing some big deer out running, or like this time of year, turkeys out strutting. So
Yeah.
it beats the heck out of sitting in the office.
That's okay. Yeah. I like it. So I'm seeing one tremendous theme, you know, no defined color television in the house as you're growing up.
Yeah.
You grew up in farming, you know, crops, cattle,
Yep.
dairy. You're an adjuster.
Yep.
So you're always outdoors
Yep.
constantly. I mean, even with the sunglass tan line, man,
Yeah,
you're
isn't that pretty
outside
good?
nonstop. This early in the season, you got a good one.
Yeah. I don't know, man. This thing, I can't seem to shake it. Even during the winter time, I still got tan lines, but yeah, like you said, always outside doing something.
That's awesome.
Right or wrong, I don't know.
So it's pretty obvious how you got into hunting. You're just outdoors and you love doing this stuff. What are some of the I guess memories or some of the first initial, you know, outdoor experiences that were like, yeah, this is what I'm about?
Man, just going with Grandpa coon hunting back in the day and smelling a pipe. He always smoked a pipe. That was a good smell.
Yeah.
And just listening to dogs run. I love doing that. And then another crazy one, probably wouldn't stand out in a lot of guys' minds, but going out in the morning, it's a cold, frosty morning, and you hear that grain bin fan off at a distance. I love that on them good, cold, calm mornings, and it's just it almost looks like snowy, just frosty.
Yeah.
And I always love that sound.
Okay.
And I want to go back to that every year.
Yeah.
I hate mornings, but I'll wake up on a morning that's good and frosty just to go watch the sun come up and listen to them grain bin fans.
That's awesome.
The ones at a distance. I don't like the ones up close.
Right.
And those are usually some good mornings to hunt too, seems to be. But I don't know. There's a lot of grain bins anymore to listen to, so
Yeah.
they might be a little more annoying than they used to be when we was a kid. There wasn't many around. So, but no, just getting out there and, man, just being outdoors. It's hard to beat it,
Yeah.
you know, as well as anyone. So just being out there, and it seems like even the days when it's really bad weather-wise is some of the best memories you have. You'll remember more of those than you will the days that was just perfect sitting out there and you was comfortable. You know, you think about that. You don't remember too many days out there. It was just a great day to be out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you remember the days that you forgot your gloves and your hands were freezing and you couldn't hardly grab your bow, or your hands sweat and they'd stick to your hand release or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, you remember those.
So many. Yeah. I mean, I grew up not far from like a little ski area. Mm-hmm. And snowboarding's my favorite thing in the world. I just grew up, it fit me.
Yeah.
And when we'd get a big snow in Michigan, I would take a shovel and I'd like get the plow, like where they piled the snow just right. Then we'd pull with a four-wheeler and we'd have a little track where you'd ride back, you know, for your takeoff on the big jump.
Yeah.
And you'd have little snow banks that you hit and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. There were nights where it was freezing cold. It's late. And I'm out there shoveling, sweating my butt off, miserable. And I almost remember that, you know, as much as I remember hitting the jumps and doing the four-wheeler thing.
Oh, yeah.
You know, great times with the buddies and great memories. But just like you're talking about, some of that misery is almost the best part sometimes.
Yep. And it makes it fun. I mean, it may not be fun at the time, but it's fun to look back on.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I remember being on deer drives and be sitting there. One in general, I was with my brother Steve and had a couple does come out and I was just freezing to death. My feet just hurt. I remember sitting there about half dazed anyway, and some deer come out and he shot at them. I don't think we got them, but I remember I was cold and I jumped up. All I wanted to do was just take off and track those deer just so I could get moving.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, it was miserable that day. But we don't get too many of those during deer season anymore, during gun season. I mean, this year was kind of cold for just a couple of days. I guess it was cold all
gun seasons were cold.
Yeah.
Almost too dang cold. But, yeah, consistently it just doesn't seem like it
Mm-mm.
You know, the brutal winters. You know, sometimes we got snow in October.
Yeah.
And then November is cold. But this year it was pretty mild.
If we get a snow in October, I'm going to be pretty pumped about 2 days before that snow gets there.
Yeah.
Especially depending on when it hits in October. What was that? 2019? We had a big snow. Was it right? It was like the 30th is when it snowed. The 29th, I shot a big one that night. And it was just a brutal night to sit in the tree. And wind was ripping. You could see that front coming, and it was just cold. It didn't matter what you wore. It was a bad night. Good night to be in the woods, but it was a bad night.
Yeah.
By the time we got out of there, it was sleeting and raining and just a mess trying to get the truck out of there, throwing rooster tails going across the field and just trying to beat it.
Yeah.
But it was a good time. I don't remember. I had Craig's session with me that night to help get that deer out. Man, we were struggling. Of course, whenever they die, they don't die in a good place, hardly ever. And he didn't. He made it across a ravine, and so we had to drop him down in there and try to pull him up the other side, and it was greased up. It was rough.
Yeah. It's sometimes you just want to pack it out like an elk or something.
Yeah. Probably should have.
Yeah. But then again, you want to keep it whole, the photos, the camp.
Yep.
Do it for the kids, right?
That's right. Yep. I had Megan, she actually went with me that night. That was the first buck in all them years of hunting. That was the first buck I'd ever killed in October. It seemed like I was always killing a November buck or December, and I'd missed a bunch of them in October and back in the day. And finally I connected on one, and that was a good feeling.
Yeah.
I hunted hard. I think it was a full week I was hunting. It just kind of a crappy week went through, and it was just hot weather, and then that big cold front hit, and things fell together. It actually worked out good on that particular hunt. There was, it was obviously a little bit later in the year, and that corn was still in. Well, that farmer that day or the day before had went through and just harvested the end rows off the field.
Yes.
So that deer was walking right through the gauntlet. He come out of the standing corn, 24 rows. So he was 24, 25 yards when he come through there. Just perfect. Waited for him to get quartered away. I'm like, I'm not screwing this up again.
That's awesome.
and got him. He didn't actually go very far. He just crossed the deep ravine. just far enough.
Right.
That's what they do.
Mm-hmm. So you killed this buck with a bow?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When did archery become a big thing for you?
Oh, shoot. So Brian and Steve got me a bow whenever I was probably 3.
Oh, wow.
And I've been shooting ever since.
Wow.
I mean, I shot without sights for a long, long time.
Okay.
Until I made enough money to buy a bow with sights. I had that little red bow, and then I got like a Golden Eagle Brave, but they had the junk sights, and I snapped them off in no time. Just being a boy. Yeah. And I don't know. I've shot a bow forever, and I like tinkering on them, and I just love shooting a bow.
Okay. So you do your own bow? You tune your own bow then?
I do tune a little bit.
Okay.
My buddy Cody, he works up there at the archery shop, so he'll do it. But most of the time, I'm tweaking on it at home.
Okay.
Kind of doing my own thing.
Archery shop in Pittsfield.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. I like them.
Yeah, he does good work too.
Yeah.
And we're always tinkering with something new. He'll have some new gadget, and I'll mess with it.
Okay.
Because he'll be like, "What's your opinion?" Well, about like everything else, you either love it or hate it.
Okay.
There's not really any in between on bow hunting, in my opinion. You're a mechanical guy or a fixed blade guy. You love them or hate them.
What do you?
I prefer a fixed blade, but
okay.
I can make my bow do what I want. I can tune it to shoot fixed blades. So
yeah,
that's a pain. That's not for everyone. So I'm kind of in the boat of you do you, I'll do me.
Tell me, all right, this seems like it's going to be a good topic for those of us that don't tune our own bows. How do you, what are some of the high-level things that you do to get it ready for fixed blades?
That I'm doing?
Yeah.
Well, now with this new bow that I just got, it's actually got tuning features on it. But before, it was just your simple move your rest up or down, left or right, whichever way you want to pull your broadhead in. So,
paper tune.
Yep. I don't even know about the paper tuning anymore. As long as you can get it to group, paper tune's a good starting point. But once you step away from that, you could have a perfectly paper tuned bow and you put a fixed blade broadhead on there and it might not fly right.
And then, so basically, for anybody listening, it's the aerodynamics of the broadhead. A fixed blade, has more surface area, so it's got more, almost like lift, like wings on a plane.
Yep.
And so you run a helical fletching on your arrows?
Yeah, mine's a 2-degree right helical. I've done the left, and I did like the left. Kind of had some mixed reviews on that because whenever you was shooting, your broadhead would be loosening because it's kind of going opposite of your broadhead.
Oh.
So it would loosen it. And I don't know if there's actually any energy loss there or not, but it seemed like one more thing that could go wrong. So it worked great because the natural clocking of, it depends on the string, how they're served up or something like that. I'm not sure of the science, but if you take the fletches off your arrow and put like a mark on it, you could shoot at like 3 feet and see which way that arrow orients off your string. So like mine would naturally clock left off of my bow. Well, it only makes sense to fletch it that way to where it's not knuckleballing at any point during flight. And it works really good for like a target archer or something like that. But I'm far from that. I can shoot good enough, but I'm just shooting to kill an animal. So,
right.
I'm not shooting 100 yards unless I have to.
Right.
So you can go pretty far down a rabbit hole on tuning. We don't have that much time, and I don't have a whole lot of experience outside of just getting my bow to shoot my fixed blade broadheads for me.
Let me ask you this: are you doing anything after this
Today?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go work at some point. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Why? What's up?
Well, so I've been debating on whether we get into this or just do a whole separate on this topic, but you've somehow, without even knowing it, positioned yourself as a bit of a guru. You probably noticed that all of your buddies come to you for deer advice.
Yeah, I don't know if it's good advice or not.
Yeah, you don't have to, but that's kind of a thing. For some way, whether it be your demeanor, your experience across the board, there are a lot of guys in and outside of your circle that pay attention to, what you say on just about all things hunting.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that Cody asks you what you think about this, broadhead or anything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a terrible memory with this kind of thing, but how did we initially meet? I think we talked on the phone before we ever actually met in person, didn't we?
So Bub, that's how we met. He was trying to kill a deer.
That's
I think he called
exactly
him Fat Eddie.
It. Fat Albert.
Fat Albert.
Yeah.
And you had got in contact with me and wanted me to look at a map and drop some pins.
Yeah.
And I never had seen the farm, and I dropped pins, and you said, well, that's exactly where he was at.
Exactly.
And kind of just running through and looking at different things like that. And that was kind of interesting then because I know where the farm is now.
Right.
But
and
just looking at a map and reading maps.
So that might be kind of my unique perspective on it because, everybody that's like mutual friend, oh, AA said this, oh, AA says that. Like, I picked up on that, and I'm like, hook me up with this guy. Yeah. I'm trying to kill this deer. Let's see if he sees anything that I don't.
You never did get him, right?
No, I think I found him at 9, dead.
Yeah.
And just to see the way that his rack recessed, but I mean, it's kind of like a rack that people would think is a 2.5-year-old deer.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got 10-inch brow tines.
Yeah.
So the mass is gone. It's not much of a, frame anymore. And his peak, what I'd say is 6, 7 years old when we were trying to kill him. Man, he was just one of those framey deer. He was only I guess he was a 8-point, but he had just, some years he didn't have much for browse, and then he'd always have like a small drop on those 2 years. And just the universe is so humbling.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so many times, like, we're just trying to kill a doe, guy's already bucked out, and Fat Albert's standing in front of him at 50 yards, and he's got a gun, and he's already shown he's proficient enough to use it.
Yeah.
And that's just how it goes. I mean,
sometimes they just win.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I should say most of the time they just win.
Yeah. So to stick to deer hunting, what are some of the things that you know, we're talking, say, archery, you know, what are some of the things that kind of guide you through your season as to where you're like, all right, these are the aspects of where I want to hunt. These are, you know, I heard you talk a little bit about fronts, being there a day or two before a front. What are some of these things that you really look for?
So whenever I'm looking at a farm and I'm looking to try to kill a deer, for one, I'm not a type of guy that's going after a single deer. I'm not a single deer hunter.
Right.
I don't have anything against any people that do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's just not my cup of tea. Like we were talking before the interview, I don't want to be asphyxiated on one and then the neighbor whacks him and now it ruins your whole season because that deer's dead.
Right.
I'm going to shoot whatever deer comes through there that I think is a good deer. So therefore, I'm not really looking to crack the code on how one deer exists. I'm looking at terrain, micro features, and a buddy of mine, we're always looking at stands, and he's the type of person that, well, this is a good spot. I want to be able to shoot here, 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 here. And I'm not that type of a person. I want to go in, I'm hunting one spot. I'll forget about the rest of the farm. I'm hunting that spot because I think the deer is in A, spot B. This is how he's got to go from here to there. Mm-hmm. And I kind of forget about the rest of it. I worry about my access and to get to that one spot. And then I'm hunting it on a specific wind and don't really push the envelope outside of that. Okay. And you know, you might catch the really big buck that you're after going through there. You're going to catch something going through there. I mean, mm-hmm. when you get into the natural funnels, they're good spots. And sometimes I'm thinking about it in a different way from other people. I killed a really nice buck a couple years ago. Hayden Flowers videoed it for me. Yeah. And that deer there, we was hunting that, and you wouldn't believe how many people were like, well, what wind direction are you hunting at? Well, you're not going to believe this. I hunted it on an east that day, and the way it's set up, an east worked good. Even though I was walking across where I was expecting the deer to kind of be, the deer were already up in the field. We got there early, but I was blowing my scent straight down a creek. Mm-hmm. And there wasn't any creek crossings really on that creek. Yeah. But I was on the downwind side of that funnel where they had to come through. You know, all the does did what does do. They went out across that open grass, and that buck, he hugged the creek edge. Mm-hmm. Well, by the time he got to where my scent was, it was too late. Mm-hmm. He was dead. Okay. But that was a unique scenario, and it's not really been the same since then. I think we hunted that spot a little too much after that, and the mm-hmm. deer kind of catch on to it. You know, a good funnel is really good, but yeah, I like to use the analogy. It's like the Hardin Bridge over there. Yeah. That's a great spot, but you know, if you've been drinking and driving, it's a pretty good place to get caught. And I think deer figure that out. Yeah. So, you know, they'll take an alternate route. They might go take the ferry, for instance, or something different. You know, there's side roads. So I think them deer can recognize funnels and that you overhunt them. So I try to not do that. Okay. Yeah, that makes total sense. Well, let's take another break. Hear a word from our sponsors. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the WJBM Outdoor Show, brought to you by Midwest Tractor Sales in Jerseyville. We're coming to you from the WJBM studios in Jerseyville, the voice of the Tri-Counties. I'm Aaron Quillen. I operate Monarch Rivers, where the mission is simple: kill big deer. And Aaron Albrecht
our all-around deer guru, is in the house. Aaron, what are you noticing, like, in terms of, I've heard it described as phases of the rut, or, you know, different times of the season. Are you noticing things starting to shift and change a little bit?
I'm noticing probably the biggest thing is October is way better than it used to be. I don't see that October lull that was always been preached. I want to say it's been the last maybe 5 years. I'd have to go back and look at pictures or whatever. But I've killed, in the middle of October, I've killed pretty much all my bucks. Ever since I killed the one there in late October, pretty much every year there's like a week in there from like the 15th to the 21st of killing a good deer every year. I'm not saying giants because they're not, but they're good mature deer. That's kind of been the biggest trend that I've seen. You know, does coming in heat earlier, it seems like to me. I don't know, maybe you guys are or not seeing it. I'm not sure, but it seems like there's always a couple does early that are popping, and I think the rut just seems to be a little bit earlier, and it's drawn out longer. And you don't see the hardcore rut like we used to. And I think there's a couple. I think there's so many does. Okay. Just, I don't know. The doe harvest it needs to go up. It sucks. It sucks for farmers, and I get it. The guys that are growing these deer and they're trying to kill 200-inch deer, whatever, that's fine. But they need to show that they're trying to manage does too, because they're just out of control around here. We can get nuisance permits, but we can only get one either sex gun tag. That don't really make much sense, does it? Yeah, we could go down this road in terms of politics and all that, because that's ultimately what's responsible for deer management is politics. And, you know, you see in all kinds of different states. The reason I'm here and live in Illinois is because politics in Michigan made deer hunting trash. And I came down here for the first time. I was like, whoa, this is amazing. And, you know, some of the factors are like, you know, plot size. In Michigan, everybody owns 10 acres. And that's what they bow hunt. You know, here, there's not a lot of people hunting 20s, you know? No, there isn't.
And so you can kill a giant on 5 acres. But just overall, the tract size, I think, is really helpful. And, you know, comparing my experiences there. But and man, you come from a farming background. I wish the Farm Bureau would step up, because they're the only lobby that's really been able to get the DNR to do anything. And they, you know, I get it, farmers first. I respect that. But at some point, they have to acknowledge the relationship between farmers and outdoors people. Because if presented with, well, what if your lease prices go down? Because they don't think about that. And I know that your crops, you know, a farmer's crops are way more valuable than their hunting lease. But in times like these, hunting lease is pretty important, because how are you going to pay the taxes and stuff like that? But there's not a lot of thought that goes into, you know, all right, let's, you know, let's consider the hunters. There's a guy I'm not going to say where he's from, but there's a guy, he got a group of hunters that come up and they're been leasing his farm for several years. I think just throw out some strange numbers here, but $10,000 a year, we'll say, is what they lease his farm for. And anyway, he kind of got onto him like, you guys are going to start killing some does, or I'm going to jack up your price. So he went up 20,000. They didn't care. He went up to 30,000 on them, and he's like, I'll make you a deal. For every doe you kill up to 10 does, I'll give you $1,000 back. They still only shot 3 does. Oh my gosh.
That's it. They can't get them to shoot a doe. And man, we're going to have to start shooting does around here. I mean, it's crazy. The crops, I see it on my side with work, the amount of acres that get replanted due to deer that just hammer them. They're out there every day just overhauling the crop. You know, it's no different than having a herd of cattle out there. And some people, I guess, just don't care. But
Yeah, I'm with you 100%.
But coons are just as bad, if not worse. And they're tearing up turkey nests too. You know, the guys that want to go turkey hunting, we got to do the coons too.
I love this. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to wrap this up, and we're just going to go right into a part 2 because we're touching on so many important topics, and we're running out of time. So for this one, thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
And everybody listening, tune in next week so you can hear the. I guess this is a big wormhole.
Yeah.
Yeah, or a big rabbit hole.
We'll go right down it, I guess.
I love it. All right. Well, thanks again.
No
Appreciate
problem.
you.
Yep.